So when you go to BandLab, click on, log into BandLab just like you always do. Click on Classroom, and then you're going to find the Drum Machine project, the assignment, and click on that. Click on the green Start Assignment button, and then this screen. After you click the Start Assignment button, then you got to click, that new window opens up, and you want the teacher option. The other option lets you turn in something that you've been working on by yourself, which is not what we want to do. So once you do that, you get this window, and we're going to be messing with the drum machine. So let's click the drum machine, and when you do that, you get this. This bottom window down here is the drum machine, and so we have some different things to look at. Here's the different instruments that it's going to play. These dots represent when it's going to play each of those drums. And then we have a play button right here. And this is just playing this one measure over and over again. So pattern A is the pattern that's selected by default. We also have pattern B, which I can click on right here, and it's another default pattern. And those are great, but we're not going to use them. So click up here, this red block up here, and click it and hit your backspace key to delete it. Click. If you don't want to hit the backspace key, you can do a 2-finger touch on your touchpad and hit delete. So now we've got a clean slate to start with. So let me show you a little bit about this drum machine. So this particular setup, we have 4 beats for each measure, and so these 4 blocks right here are the first beat. That's beat 1. All right, and these 4 blocks right here are beat 2. Pardon my bad on-screen writing. These 4 blocks right here are beat 3, and these 4 blocks right here are beat 4. So something that's in the first column, something that's in this first column right here is going to be right on the beat, and then something that's in this column is going to be on the middle of the beat, or on the and. If you're a musician, band person, you know that we sometimes subdivide 1 and 2 and. So this would be count 1, right on count 1. This would be on the and. This would be on count 2. This would be on and. This would be count 3, and you get the idea. All right. So when we listen to it, one and, all right. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. That's how that's working. All right. So we're going to create our own pattern that's going to help us understand that a little bit better. So click on pattern C down here. All right. So we have a cymbal. We have a hi-hat, open hi-hat cymbal. We have a closed hi-hat cymbal. We have a tom. This is a high tom, a middle tom, a snare drum, and a floor tom, which is the lowest of the 3 toms. And then we have the kick drum. You might think of that as the bass drum. So what I would like for you to do is put a dot right there on count 1 on this kick drum row. So we're in the bottom row, which is kick drum, and we're in the very first column, and you click to put an orange dot there. Then we're going to move over here to count 2, the first column of count 2, and put a kick drum there. Now to count 3, and a kick drum right there, and to count 4, kick drum right there. So it looks like that. And you hopefully can hear that steady 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Then we're going to come up here to this hi-hat, and we're going to click on every other square in the row like this. Okay. And so that gives us those ands that we were talking about. So instead of just boom, 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 we got boom, tick, boom. And you might want to mess around with this a little bit, and you can change it to look like this if you want to. So we have red, skip one, and then on the middle, on the third one, we're going to put the yellow open hi-hat. Red, open hi-hat. You see the pattern here. Whichever one you like better, you can keep that. You can either keep the way I had it before, which is all reds, or just every other one is yellow. So pause the video and make yours look like that. Before I can save it, I have to do something important, which is I'm going to add C. So down here with this green add C button, and I'm going to add it, and that gives me one measure of this pattern. And I actually want 4 measures of the pattern, so I'm going to use that good old loopy loop tool, right? Click right there on the loop tool, drag it over all the way through measure 4 to the beginning of measure 5. So now you can see where I have 1, 2, 3 and 4 blocks right there. So that's 4 measures. And now I'll be able to actually save it. So now we're ready for the next part. Click over here on pattern D. And what we're going to do, yours is empty. So I want you to make yours look like this. And the way that you're going to do that is just click on that orange. This is the kick drum. Right here on count 1. This one right here is the key. So this whole square, this whole beat right here is beat 2, okay? And it's this one, the middle of beat 2, which we would call the and of 2, that beat right there, or that part of the rhythm, is what's going to help it have a little bit of funkiness to it. All right, check this out. So what I want you to do is make yours look like this. We're putting a bass drum right there, a bass drum here in the middle of this count 2 block, nothing in the count 3 block, and then on the count 4 block we have the kick drum at the beginning of count 4 and in the middle of count 4, the and of 4. And then using the snare drum voice, we're going on count 2 and on count 4, beginning of the count 2 block over here, beginning of the count 4 block over here. So make yours look like, pause the video, make yours look like that. So once yours looks like mine, now here's where I want you to get creative. You have all these other voices up here to use, plus this one down here. Don't forget about this floor tom. And just experiment. I don't know how you want yours to sound. Maybe you want to do something like this. Just whatever. You mess with it. Then the other thing that I want to show you, let me leave those in there. Maybe you don't like that symbol, but you can change that symbol to something else. Maybe a cowbell would be more fun. I actually kind of like that. And you can do that for all these different voices. So change it around. Maybe you don't want a snare. Maybe you want a hand clap. Okay. And you can change all these. Then that's not the only thing you can change. Over here on the left, where it says 808 kit, that is the type of drum set that this particular drum pad is using, and you can change it. So just click on the drop down menu and you have a whole list of drum kits and a whole list of pad kits. So the drum kits are going to be more traditional sounding drums like you would find on an actual drum set. And then the pad kit is going to be more electronic sounding. And you can just, if you just change the kit, and it's going to change. Notice the instruments are still the same, but it's going to change how they sound. Okay. One thing that you might run into as you mess with that, when you change the kit, you might run into a situation where if you've changed these voices, these instruments, I mean, that instrument may not be available on certain kits, and so it might be grayed out. And if it's grayed out, it's not going to play. So you just change it to something that is there. So, for example, the ride cymbal doesn't exist on this kit, and so you can see if I had put that on ride cymbal, this is grayed out. It's not going to play. So if that happens, either pick a different instrument that does exist, or change it to a different kit or a different pad. So when you turn this in, well, I'm getting ahead of myself. So I want you to just experiment with different things and just mess with it. So go ahead and pause the video and get a loop in here. Don't just add one voice. You should add a bunch of different stuff. Experiment and come back to the video when you have something you like. So I've ended up with something kind of crazy. But it doesn't matter. Yours does not have to look like this. In fact, I don't want yours to look like this, except the part that I do want to look like this. I do want these. I do want that to look like this, and specifically, I want this bass drum part to look like that, and I want this snare drum part to look like that. But you might have changed the voices, and that's okay. This used to be a snare drum, remember, and I changed it to a hand clap. So, and you might have changed the kick drum, and that's okay too, but I want this pattern. You might have something in this bottom row here. Didn't mean to put that there. And that's okay. I'm talking about the kick drum. I want it to be that exact pattern, and the snare or whatever you changed it to on 2 and 4. And then whatever craziness you have going on up here, cool, that's you. So now that I've got that, I'm going to click Add D, and that's going to add pattern D up here just like it did before. And then I'm going to take my loop button just like I did before. And remember, when I hover my mouse over the loop button, it changes to that left pointing arrow, right pointing arrow, that way. And I'm going to loop it out so that I have 4 measures 7, 8, 5, 6, 7, and 8, ending at the beginning of measure 9. So now I have 4 measures of the beat that we all should have the same thing or very similar. And then I've got 4 measures of my beat. So that's cool. Save, because remember, we got to save often. All right, so one last part to finish this up for Monday. We have to move my head out of the way here. All right, I'm going to close that out. So this is great. Your project should look like this. And now we've got a drum part, so now we need a bass part. So you're going to go down here to the loops button, just like we have done before, and click on loops, the loops tab up here. And for instruments, you're going to select bass. There's 2,381 different bass samples. Don't pick one of the first ones. Be interesting. Scroll. If you want to see which ones start with Z, search for, okay, maybe that was a bad example. Maybe there's some that have a Y in it. Yeah, something like that. Now, a couple of words of warning here. If you end up with a tempo over here, Okay, I want you to see this tempo marking: 72, 93, whoops, 93, 93. All right, let's compare that to the tempo up here at the top of the screen, 120. If it's close to 120, 119 is really close to 120, then it'll be fine. Something that's in the 70s or 80s or 90s even, just be aware what it's gonna do is it's gonna stretch that audio out to make it fit in the tempo, or compress it depending on what it is, to make it fit in the tempo that you have. So like this one at 119 might be cool. Okay, I kind of like that, but I want to listen, because I need to listen to my drum beat, and I need something that's going to fit that. All right, and it needs to be obviously something that I like. So I think this one is going to fit. So I'm going to get it and put it in here, and so I have this 4-bar bass loop. So you go find a bass loop that you like. So once you've got your first bass loop that you like, if it's not 4 measures, then you need to loop it so that it is 4 measures. Mine is 4 measures. And then I want you to find another one that you like. And again, it needs to match the drum beat that you created for pattern D. So I've found one, and I'm just going to put it here. Now notice I'm not dropping it here now. Now I'm just adding it to the track that already exists. You could put it down here. It doesn't really matter. All right, so now I'm going to listen to that. Let's see. So here's a critical part of what you need to do. I listened to that. I thought I was going to like it. I don't. Don't turn it in if you don't like it. Go find something you do like. Okay, so I found one I do like. So that's cool. Now, one last thing I want to show you. This bar right over here that's partially green is a volume control that affects just this track. So you got a main volume control up here, and of course you got your main volume on your computer as well, or whatever. To my ears, listening to this, I need the bass to be a little bit louder, and so I'm just going to bring the bass up a 1 decibel. That's the dB. So now it's +1 dB, and yeah, I'm still going to bring it up a little bit more. Let's bring it up to dB. And then one other trick you can use is maybe the drums are a little too loud. So I'm going to bring the drums down 0.5 decibel. If I can, there we go. So mess with that. That's a little bit better. All right. So you should have 4 bars of loop, or excuse me, pattern C, which is the pattern. It should look exactly like this, unless the one option that you had was you might have had red all the way across, and then a bass loop to go with it, and then you should have pattern D, 4 measures of that, and a different bass loop to go with it. And once you have all those things, you can save it, and then you want to look up here at the top of your screen. It's not on mine, but on your screen there will be that green submit button, and go ahead and submit it.